Yeah, wait. Marabou, Rowan, thank you so much. Yamaninda, Phil Naya, Gomeroi Maori, that's hello and welcome. My name is Phil Duncan, and I'm a very proud Gomeroi man. Even more so, I'm extremely proud to be the chair of the board for the Aboriginal Carbon Foundation. So, as it is customary, I just want to do a quick acknowledgement of country. I'd like to acknowledge everybody that's joined us. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners from whose cultural footprint you join this significant event in National Reconciliation Week with the Aboriginal Carbon Foundation, and pay our respects to those elders past, present, and we have a strong vision at the Aboriginal Carbon Foundation about growing our future generations in the world that we exist in. So I just want to pay homage to those. Trust that this week we honour the past, respect the present, and we share a common vision of a prosperous and reconciled future where we all are beneficiaries of the work that we do. As I said, I'm the chair of the Aboriginal Carbon Foundation. It is something that I am absolutely, a position I'm absolutely delighted to hold. It is significant for me. As with our board, I want to acknowledge our board members and the youth that are coming through that pathway is just sensational. But I also want to acknowledge the hard work and the heavy lifting our staff do under the leadership of our CEO, Rowan Foley, with Sean and Emma and Mihaela and Lisa, and I probably missed a couple of people. But look, today's about showcasing innovation based on what I call the 4 R's: respect, relationship, reciprocity, and everything that we do with the Aboriginal Carbon Foundation is about reconciliation. It's about giving back. It's about, making sure that we take our partners on the journey to establish those relationships with the people in community that we work with and for. We leave no one behind in that partnership, and particularly with the communities and the opportunities that we have presented to us. And I think the other clear thing is we do no harm. It is a key priority for us to have a focus on we do no harm. And look, lastly, I just want to say that from the heart, the 3 core values that the Aboriginal Carbon Foundation has is about quality of life, longevity of life, and a quality cultural way of life through the work that we do in empowering communities through our relationships and partnerships. I want to say, Marabou, Rowan, thank you for the opportunity to open up this session in Reconciliation Week. And without any further ado, I would now like to hand over to our CEO, Rowan Foley. Very proud bachelor man. Over to you, Rowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Phil. And I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on whose country we are today. I'm on Aranda country in Alice Springs. So when we get into this talk, I might actually turn my camera off because it's raining in Alice Springs at the moment. And but I come from the Wandana clan of the Butchulla people, traditional owners of Gurri, Fraser Island, in southeast Queensland. And I've been in Central Australia now for 20 years. So and I live here on Aranda country in Alice Springs. Thanks, Mr. Chair. We're going to go into a small PowerPoint presentation that Sean has put together. So that's been a wonderful job. And then at the end of that, we'll have a Q&A session. So people will be able to ask us questions about who we are, and about Reconciliation Week and what it means for us and the traditional owners that we serve, and also a number of the companies that we work with as well. I'm just going to go off camera. Sean, do you want to go on to the next slide from National Reconciliation Week? Okay, practical reconciliation. A lot of the work that the Foundation undertakes with traditional owners is all around practical reconciliation, looking after country. There are 5 elements to reconciliation. We believe strongly in traditional owners working together, first and foremost with other traditional owners, so peer-to-peer, but also with the companies and the organisations that we work with. We work with a range of partners and they support the work of the traditional owners. And reconciliation action plans is something that's very popular with the organisations and the companies that work with us, and they fulfill their RAPs by working with us. So it's about strengthening those relationships between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. Okay. Next slide. Our work directly supports traditional owners being on country. This photo here is one of Western Yalanji Rangers at Palmerville Station. They have engaged in cultural rejuvenation over the last 3 or 4 years because they were not allowed on the property for about 20 years with the previous pastoral owner. The current pastoral owner, Darren Pearson, works very strongly. He's a white pastoralist, and he works very strongly with the traditional owners, and that's enabled them to come back onto the country, and they're doing a fantastic job in burning country in a cultural way. Cultural burning of country supports the operations of the pastoralists, and it also generates carbon credits. The Aboriginal Carbon Foundation, we're a not-for-profit, and the reason why we're a not-for-profit is so traditional owners can generate the maximum amount of income. And since we've been in existence, we've generated over $5 million to traditional owners. We do have the best prices in Australia. And that means that the traditional owners will receive the maximum amount of income in the carbon industry. So we offer traditional owners the best possible service because they're looking after country, and that supports their jobs. Okay, next slide. Where we work is normally across Northern Australia. We also work in Southern New South Wales with the bigger land council. A lot of our projects, however, are in Northern Australia, so in the Kimberley, Central Australia, Top End, and Cape York. Cape York is very much a strong home for us. Working at working at Palmerville Station with traditional owners, Woolba. That's 2 properties in their estate, and it's mostly savanna burning is the methodology that people engage in the most. We're also got a biodiversity project with Bega Land Council in Southern Australia, and we'll be doing a cultural fire program down there later in the year that Sean has played a very strong role in coordinating. Okay. There are 2 environmental markets which have supported traditional owners being on country with a real economy. So the carbon market, which has been in existence now for over 10 years, over a decade. We also have a new nature repair market, which is coming into existence. Just with the carbon markets, I think that overall the industry is worth $59 million, according to a ILSC report that was recently released. And one of the important aspects around the carbon market is that the funds are untied. So that means that the traditional owners are free to do with it as they desire. The new nature repair market will be generating biodiversity certificates. No one has sold a biodiversity certificate as yet. The first methodology has been approved. It's a new emerging market, and it's something that we're very keen to be working with traditional owners in. In terms of Indigenous ideologies, it's a very different approach, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Around the way that we support core benefits, so environmental, social, and cultural core benefits, which is a holistic and balanced approach. We believe that there are scope for new commodities around bushfire mitigation and also flood control. We have a very strong working relationship with the IAG, which is the Australian Insurance Group. So the insurance industry is very keen to support our work. Okay, moving on. The social return on investment through buying the traditional owners' carbon credits is rated at $4.41 for every $1 that is supported. It's a fantastic return on the investment, which supports people's health, supports jobs, supports people having a purpose in their work. Having a meaningful job, being on country, particularly undertaking fire management, which is something that people love doing, provides a great social return on investment. We're certified with Supply Nation. We believe that with the Indigenous estate, I think it's around 57% of Australia as it stands, that it is a sleeping giant, and the return on the investment through buying the traditional owners carbon credits and eventually their biodiversity certificate is going to be significant. And importantly, it's not government funding. It's not, it's not an employment program from government. This is primarily in the voluntary market. So, a lot of people talk about government funding. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But recently we saw that the Northern Territory's government stopped funding for Indigenous ranger programs. And so you can see the impact that that has on traditional owners. And it's not good. But in the voluntary market, we're not reliant upon government funding. So that's a very important part. Traditional owners reinvest those funds into jobs and looking after country. And they're very proud of the work that they do. And we'll be back up on country very soon. So there's a lot of joy. You'll see some of our social media posts. There's a lot of fun and there's a lot of joy that people have in undertaking this work. Okay. One of the roles that we play is around strengths-based community development. You will see that there's a link there that will take you to a video. So this is Barry Hunter, our former chair, talking about the workshop that we held up on Western Yalnji country at Palmerville Station, talking about internal strengths that the traditional owners have and the way that they go about their work. It provides a lot of community development. Okay, next slide. This is what I was talking about just before. So the core benefits of a project, and this is really why we undertake the work that we do. So carbon farming for us is about having work in the social, cultural, and environmental core benefits. This is what leads our work. Carbon credits are always considered a byproduct or a co-benefit of the work. That's why we call it core benefits. This is the core reason or the core benefit of carbon farming. And you can see there that one of the Western Yalnji Rangers are talking to two other Indigenous people. This was from our community development program on Western Yalnji country last year. And protecting rock art is one of the aspects which is very strongly supported through good fire management. By having good cultural burns, you can actually protect rock art, and that's a motivating factor. That's one of the reasons why we do this work. And there's also the assessment. So the core benefits verification framework undertakes a peer-to-peer, Indigenous to Indigenous strengths-based approach in verifying the project and those environmental, social, and cultural values. So there's no greenwashing. Everything's above board. Things are verified, and that's in the independent verification. This also supports a number of the UN Sustainable Development Goals as well. And I think it's 14 out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals which are identified in the work that we do. Okay, moving on. Working with traditional owners means discussing the project, verifying the environmental, social and cultural values, ensuring that the correct protocols are in place. Data sovereignty is something which is very important to us and the traditional owners. Colonisation is something that we need to deal with, and the practices that we have are around decolonisation of looking after country. And that's particularly around the Indigenous peer-to-peer approach that we take. So the only people with cultural authority to be able to verify environmental, social and cultural values are other Indigenous people. It's not KPMG or Ernst & Young or any of those big auditing firms from Sydney and Melbourne. The cultural authority comes from other Indigenous people. And that's the approach that we take. Okay, moving on. Economic development means many different things to many different people. Australia has, I think, over 250 recorded different languages, people speaking for country, and people have always been collaborating, working together since time immemorial. And that's an approach that we continue to adopt today. But in the modern society, there's money, that we have to have strong economic returns to look after country. People need to be paid for their work. Diesel needs to be put in Toyotas. It all costs money. So to look after country, every traditional owner, and these are all different language groups. These are a number of the different traditional owner groups that we work with. They have to survive in the real world. And so economic development is very important. Now, for one traditional owner group, we have returned in the last financial year over $750,000 to the traditional owners. And that's by selling their carbon credits at the top market rate, and that money goes directly into their economic development. And I can tell you it's made them financially viable. So there's a great opportunity here to be able to support traditional owners looking after country. Next slide. A lot of the work that we do with traditional owners is very much around being a catalyst. So it's traditional owners' country, it's their knowledge, it's their cultural authority, and having the best interests of the traditional owners at heart. Being advocates. So we made a submission to the Chubb review that the government engaged last year, and I think every recommendation that we made with Melbourne University was accepted by the Chubb review and has been accepted by the Australian government. So that was just part of our advocacy role. And also around the nature repair markets, we have some advocacy roles in there as well. And we help with policy development, particularly around methodologies. And we take a very innovative approach to this work, particularly the peer-to-peer strengths-based approach, which people in the Indo-Pacific, people in Fiji and throughout the South Pacific are very keen on adopting that approach. Seen as innovative, and so we like to continue that work, working at the cutting edge. As we say, it's something that is very important to us. One of the opportunities that we have, if people want to come along and work with the traditional owners, to hear from the traditional owners, to experience cultural burning for themselves, is that we'll be taking people up on country in mid-July. There's still a few places available. It's one thing talking about it, it's another thing experiencing it. And this is part of the aspect of greenwashing, so people can actually go and see. You can go and see for yourself that these projects are real, the traditional owners are doing great work. There's no funny business going on. It's a legitimate program. It's high integrity, and we want people to come and experience it with us. So if there's an opportunity there for us in mid-July, if you'd like to come along, by all means, we would welcome that. And we've done this a couple of times before. We had a delegation from Timor-Leste last year. We went up there, and also that community development work that we did with the Atlantic Fellows. So we've done this twice before, and it's just been sensational. So I don't know when's the last time you dropped a match and started a bushfire, but we'd like you to come up to Cape York and you can light some country the proper way with the traditional owners. Okay, thank you very much. I'd just like to thank you for coming along today. And also you'll see that there's donations that button there. So end of year, we have a campaign around end of year donations. If you've got a few spare dollars and you want to help the traditional owners and help us, that would be most appreciated. And also if you want to go carbon neutral, you can buy their carbon credits as well. So we would like to engage and come and join us. So thank you very much. And that's it from me. I'll just come back on camera. Hello, here I am. I'm not quite sure what happens now. I think that I think we've got some questions that may come our way. Sean or Emma, what's the setup now?
I think we'll have a look to see in our chat to see if there are any questions. But if anyone has any questions and they want to raise their hand, or if they want to write some questions down in the chat for the meeting, we'll be happy to answer some questions for you. I think we've got some questions. Let me have a look.
Whilst you're looking at those questions, Sean, Rowan, I'd just like to amplify the open invitation for the remaining places that people should embrace to actually walk on country and with those traditional owners in mid-July. I believe that would be very eye-opening for a lot of people, that instead of just reading about what we do, come walk with us and walk with the mob on their country. So yeah, the invitation is serious. Please accept that opportunity for those that are with us.
Yeah, it's one of the really good things about these things we're doing, is that you can come and join us and actually experience cultural base. It really is an amazing opportunity for people to do that.
We have a question from Natalie. We have a question from Natalie McNamara. It would be interesting to know why most projects are located in the north end of Australia.
Okay. Most projects are located actually in southern Australia, but their vegetation management, the savanna burning projects, are located in northern Australia, and it's the main method. There's over 30 methodologies. Savanna burning is one of them, and that's from 600 mils and above. So Kimberley, Top End, Cape York, that's the vegetation that sustains the savanna burning methodology across northern Australia. Down south, it's mainly vegetation management, so looking after country through trees. So that's why we mainly work with traditionals on savanna burning. But the project that Sean's working on in southern Australia, that's also looking at veg management. So it's just, we work mainly in the north.
Thanks for that question, Natalie. We have a question from, it looks like a crazy Fijian named Petro. He wants to know what kind of feedback we've had from any landowning units. So like the Western Yallinji and the other traditional owners we work with, what kind of feedback do we get from them?
The type of feedback people have is around, when can we go burning? When can we be on country? And people want to know how best to engage in the carbon markets. That's the sort of feedback that we have. So there's a number of people who are very happy to just, go and do the burning, which is the best part of the job. There are other people who are interested more in the market side of things and the technical aspects of offset reports. So you get some young people who are interested in that as well. So the main feedback you get is, when can we go burning?
We have another question from Hunter Darasha. Apologies if I've mispronounced that. Hunter wants to know how often we open up the invitation to experience the programs. Is it just once per year in July?
At the moment, it is, but we're looking to make this an annual program. So if you can't make it this year, come along next year. So we're looking at making this an annual program. It is resource intensive. It takes us a lot of time and energy to do this. So we did 2 last year. We're doing 1 this year. And if we get numbers and interest, we'll do a couple more next year.
Cassandra Rowe asks, do you know more about the approved methodology that's been created for biodiversity certificates?
There's one methodology that has been approved at the moment. Its name escapes me. I don't know if you can remember it, Sean, but there's one methodology that has been approved. Other methodologies are coming through the pipeline. We're actually working with NAILSMA on a savanna burning / biodiversity methodology that we'll be undertaking consultations on later in the year. But there's one methodology, and it's around vegetation management, protecting trees and growing trees. But there'll be others. I know there's several in the pipeline. We're working on one. Oh, we're actually working on two. The other one's ungulate, which is hoofed animals. So we're actually working on two methodologies for the biodiversity market with NAILSMA.
Shreya Malabata asked us if we could share our definition of data sovereignty in the context of Indigenous partnerships.
By all means, maybe after the email, after the conference, send us an email. We're happy to share that. It's in our core benefits verification framework. We've done a fair amount of work on this, but essentially it means that the traditional owners are in control of the information at all times. So whilst there may be many outcomes, say there's 10 outcomes from a project that people identify, they say there's 10 outcomes. They may be only willing to share 2 or 3 of those outcomes with third parties, and they'll say that the seven other outcomes they want to remain private for the traditional owners, which is fine, which is good. But there may be 3 outcomes that they're willing to share. So that's a practical reality of the projects that we work on. But send us an email afterwards, and we'll send you the core benefits verification framework that details data sovereignty.
Darren Skuse has asked us, is there a link to attend the program? And by that, I'm guessing he's meaning the cultural immersion up in Cape York. Darren, we can send you an email with the information after this, if you like. Mitra Ardran has a long question. Most carbon work I'm aware of are viable, scalable, whether structured as a profit or not-for-profit. While I support your goals, core benefits, priorities, what I'm hearing is a charity subsisting on donations and people paying out of their social goals rather than a scalable project that can exist from people paying you for carbon offsets where the social goals are supported but not critical to whether to work with you or to one of the competing carbon projects. Is that accurate? I think to summarise that, Mitra, we're the sort of catalyst organisation. We facilitate a lot of the work, and the reason why we're a non-profit, as Rowan said, is we try to return as much of the income back to the traditional owners as we can, rather than take away from their profits. And we try to eke out a bit of an existence in the middle of that. So we've been non-profit since our inception, and we've only just recently got DGR and PBI status. We know a heap of other organisations that exist on donations, like Red Cross and a whole range of other non-profit charities. If we can get some donations for the work we do because people believe in the work we do, then that's the road we're going to go down. But yeah, thanks for your question. Raylene Draper asks, are there any other methods that you support for carbon farming? Thoughts on the ungulate method?
Well, there's the new integrated land management farming methodology, which is around 6 to 12 months away. So it's not here yet, but when that comes, that will be very good for the carbon industry. The biodiversity industry, so we're looking at 2 methodologies there. So one of them is the ungulate method, and this is led by NAILSMA, I might add, North Australian Indigenous Land and Sea Management Alliance. We're very close to, we're brother sister organisation. So ungulate and savanna burning for biodiversity outcomes. So there's 2 methodologies in the Nature Repair Act that we're supporting. The environmental plantings in the carbon industry, that's good. Planting trees, that's good. So, yeah.
Agostino Jimenez asks about your thoughts on the soil carbon methodology.
Somebody once said to me that soil carbon, it's very hard to make and very easy to lose. And I think that's probably my thoughts around it. Like, it works. I don't, it's legitimate, and, and it's good. And, we want carbon in our soil. We want healthy soil. That's a wonderful thing. Just in terms of the methodology itself, it's hard to make and very easy to lose. And that's one of the problems with that methodology.
Rebecca Moriarty has a question about what is a particular project you really enjoyed and valued?
Well, I'd have to say the Western Yallinji project on Palmerville, because we went out burning. And that's the best part of the job. Like, I don't know how many people there get to like bushfires, but I can tell you now, and Sean was there. Sean loved it. Sean lit some bushfires. It's fabulous work. Well, you talk about Sean. You were up there. It was fabulous. Yeah,
well, so I grew up in Bundaberg, Queensland, and my grandfather was kind of known as a bit of a pyromaniac. He used to, rather than go and mow the grass, he would wait till it got brown and then he would burn it. So I never really understood, and he sort of passed away before I was old enough to learn about cultural burning. But I would love to have known what that connection was for him, and for me, I was just following what the traditional owners were doing, and they were sort of encouraging us to sort of get involved and see what it's like. And it's kind of like any job. Once you start something, you want to keep going until the job's finished and it's done well. So, yeah, I thought it was a really amazing experience to be involved in.
Yeah, lighting bushfires out on country with the traditional owners, it's the best feeling out. It's fantastic. It really is. It makes you feel joy.
Well, thanks everyone for attending. This is our first webinar, if you couldn't already tell. It's been an amazing experience for us to share a little bit of information with you. Hopefully, we will be able to host some more of these regularly. And we really thank you for your interest and involvement today. And we hope that you keep coming back and wanting to listen to us and learn from us as well. So please keep an eye out for further invitations in future, and we'll send out a little bit of a thank you to everyone for participating. And we look forward to catching up with you next time. Have a great reconciliation week. And please, if you want any more information about some of the content from today, go and have a look at our website. There's a lot more information on there, and particularly that video about the self-determined community development. It's a really interesting video. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you.
Online,
Thanks,
Rowan, Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sean, well done.